The governor signed legislation that gives local municipalities the option to participate in a tax exemption for volunteer firefighters and ambulance workers. News Channel 2's Kirk Tupai tells us what you need to qualify and why this legislation sounds better than it might actually be.
Volunteer firefighters and ambulance workers could get a 10% break on their assessed property taxes. Local governments would have to first hold public hearings and pass a local law or resolution opting into the exemptions. The 10% property tax exemption would only apply to the owned primary residence. The property must be located within the jurisdiction the volunteer serves, and the volunteers must have served as active members for 2 to 5 years. The Village of Vernon already held a public hearing on the proposal and is considering moving forward with a resolution for next year, since the 10% really doesn't amount to much money.
They might be saving $80. 10%. My taxes are right around $800 or so. So that's $80. That might get them back and forth to the firehouse a couple times.
The 10% partial exemption does not diminish the total tax revenue received by governments. Local taxpayers will be responsible to make up the difference for those who take advantage of the program. The mayor doesn't expect to have the exemption in place for this tax year, as taxpayers will already be facing a tax hike.
The property taxes are probably going to go up about 2% this year. I mean, they were going to anyhow with the price of fuel and the cost of living and insurance and everything else that we're having to pay. 2% was going to be difficult for us to handle, but we'll find a way to make the cuts to make everything work.
The 10% tax exemption sounds like a nice break for these volunteers, but there's already a $200 tax credit allowed by the state, and you're only allowed to take one or the other.
At this point, nobody in my department is going to benefit from the 10% tax exemption, because you have to have a pretty good size house with a decent value to beat the $200 tax exemption you get every year from the state.
Tonight at 6, we'll give you an idea of what these volunteer services are saving you and why this proposed tax break isn't expected to have a big impact on recruitment. In Vernon, I'm Kirk Tupai reporting for News Channel 2.